able to.
Just no other way. Can you feel it now? It's like a steel boot to the gut. I feel the heat from these fields of fire. I hear the screeching of burning tires. I don't care how long it takes. I ain't never gonna break. I got a 5.56 that'll leave you rattled.
Yeah, apparently in that song, he's got a 5.56 that'll leave that guy rattled. Let's see. Who's all here today? We got Gambit and Snorty. And Meph is in the chat, not on the show, sadly. 11 Alpha is here. Good morning. Sasha Fred. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. Joe will not be here today because his team won the Super Bowl and he got too excited and hurt his voice. He hurt his widow voice. Yeah, he sounds. Yep. He sounds awful. Yeah. And Pope is not here because I don't know. Probably working. So I don't know. Did not hear from him. So it is Monday, and we are going to be talking about really one of my favorite films of all time, Mr. Roberts. Movie that began first as a book. It was a very semi-autobiographical book that basically told the story. It was the only thing he ever wrote, the author. And the author is, by the way, Tom Hagen. And like Mr. Roberts, died young. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Let's see. Bear Cole, Martin, and then we got. I can't remember if I saw the movie. I saw the 1984 NBC teleplay, and I've seen the stage play. And of course, the stage play was made famous by the star of this film, Henry Fonda. And he kind of owned the role already on stage. He started doing productions of this as early as 1948, stage production. And then when they were going to make the movie, the only person they could ask to play the part really was Henry Fonda. And because John Ford was picked as the director for the film, basically, and he was friends with Ford, Henry Fonda was, and they had a close working relationship and were close friends. And but this film would end that, both the professional relationship and the friendship.
Why?
Because look, John Ford suffered from PTSD pretty badly, and like so many soldiers, he self-medicated, and he became a drunkard, and it was really wearing thin while making this film. And pretty much during the first week, he started changing dialogue on Henry, and Henry was getting upset. And so they had a discussion. It got lively. And Ford was drinking and was drunk. And his reaction to Henry Fonda's criticisms over the changing of dialogue for Mr. Roberts was to punch Henry Fonda right in the face.
Oh.
He hit him on the left cheek, as I recall. Hit him with a right, blacked his eye. They had used makeup on him to hide it. And Fonda walked out, and they had an icy relationship the rest of the time he was on the shoot. And Fonda, who could have probably helped him later on, would not defend Ford. And even though it's true, within a few hours, Ford had apologized to him, the damage was done. It was done. And he felt betrayed by him lashing out like that. And good old-fashioned shell shock. Fuck off. That's what they would call things like that. Shell shock actually started in World War I. That's what they called post-traumatic stress. And then later during World War II, they would call it combat fatigue. And Ford was there for the whole war. He directed and was on the scene for combat. He was the one who filmed all the footage for the Battle of Midway, the real battle. Mm. And he was damn near killed when he was on the ship filming part of the footage. And I do believe, and I'm not totally sure, but that's where he got injured and lost his eye. He was on the ship. But I can't remember as far as the eye goes, because he ended up wearing, first he wore a black lens on his glasses. And then he started wearing a patch. In fact, I do believe he was wearing a patch when Spielberg met him. And, but like I said, his drunkard behavior on set got worse. And he was relieved of duty. And eventually was replaced with another director. That director didn't get the credit, and that was Mervyn LeRoy. Ford still got sole credit for directing the film. LeRoy did the pickup work, and I think he ended up working a week to 2 weeks. But it wasn't just with Fonda. Things came to a head for Ford when he started getting into confrontations with Jimmy Cagney. Now, Jimmy Cagney was a fighter. So if he had, I'm telling you, Cagney would have knocked him on his ass if it had ever come to that.
Wikipedia lists them both as directors, Ford and LeRoy.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about on-screen credit. On-screen credit means in the credits. He's listed later in the credits, but he's not listed as the director. So in the movie, sole credit went to Ford for the movie. So yeah, he never really said that. He would say things that were similar, and that just became a famous thing. People mess up quotes because it's one of those things. The guy who started that was Frank Gorshin, because he was a big impersonator too, and he did a really good. He did a great Kirk Douglas, and he did a great Jimmy Cagney. Frank Gorshin. You guys will remember him as the original live-action Riddler on the 1966 Batman series and movie. Frank Gorshin did a show in the late 60s, early 70s. I remember watching it on TV called The Copycats. And it was a bunch of actors and actresses who could impersonate other people, and they would do skits as those people. And it was a fun show.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
It didn't make it. It got one season, and I love that show, man. Dad and I were glued to the TV for that show because we loved Rich Little, and I love those actors that could impersonate other actors. I still do, because there's a number of actors out there that do great impersonations of other actors. It's hilarious. Like what's his name that played Loki? Shit, man. He does some great impressions. Also, the dude from The Walking Dead, he's got some really good impressions. Jay Moore does some great on-the-spot impressions. Clint Eastwood, he'll tell stories about Clint Eastwood and Chris Walken because he's worked with both men, and he will do their voices while he's telling the stories. It's funnier than shit. No, look, he had a reputation for abusing John Wayne, and it came to a head when they were making a movie right after the war starring Robert Montgomery and John Wayne, and I do believe it was about PT boats. And it got so bad on the set that Ford was berating him about not serving, that Robert Montgomery, everybody was uncomfortable because he would just dig into Wayne and Wayne would get quiet. He would get emotional. And because Pappy, as he was lovingly known by many of the people that really did keep their friendships with him, was rough on Wayne. Always rough on Wayne. But after the war, he was rougher because he called him a coward. Called him a coward and called him yellow to his face on the set. And Robert Montgomery had his fill, who was also a veteran. Also the mother of Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched. And estranged father. And in fact, a lot of her bad behavior with her sexual escapades is said to have been her lashing out at Robert Montgomery. But anyway, Montgomery stood up and he says, "Hey, man, are we going to make a movie here? Or we're just going to have to keep watching you do this to John the whole time." And it shut Ford up. And he never said another thing ever to John Wayne about him being a coward or yellow for not serving. I think he got it out of his system in that movie. But this film, again, another great story about this, the making of this film, is how Lemmon got the part in this. And the fact is he had tried out for a previous film that Ford was making called The Gray Line, which was about an actor who plays a character when he's younger, all the way up into old age. And they had taken a plaster cast of his face, done the straws up the nose of Jack Lemmon just for the audition.
Shit.
And he had to wear this makeup, and Ford apparently said, and this is told by Jack Lemmon himself, "I love to show this video. I really fucking would, but I'm afraid we get claimed on it." It's on the Dick Cavett show. He told the whole story.
At least share a link so people can go watch it.
Well, all right, fuck. Why should I bother telling? Okay.
No, tell it, but share a link as well.
So I'm not going to share it immediately. So Lemmon basically was auditioning for this movie, but he never met Ford. Okay, that's the funny part of this story, is that he never got to meet Ford, and he's a big admirer of Ford's filmmaking. And apparently, what was told to Lemmon was that Ford said, quote unquote, "He makes a terrible 80-year-old man, but you know what he'd make a great version of? Instant Pulver." And that was before he even made The Gray Line. So Jack Lemmon shooting another film, a dramedy, there at the studio lot, and he wandered over because he heard that they were making the movie, The Gray Line. And so he wandered over there, just wanting to catch a glimpse of what's going on, and go for the have a look at who they cast, and it was a big name. I forget who it was, but He's watching, looking in this the sound stage, and this old guy who looks like he's a grip or something, and says, and he mumbles it when he says it to him. You're that Lemmon guy. He says, yeah, I'm Jack Lemmon, yeah. And he says, you know what role you'd be really good at? He says, what role was that? He says, Ensign Pulver. And he goes, oh, you spread the word, get it back to the director, John Ford. Let him know. And he says, I tell you what, you got the role. And Jack Lemmon's like, what?
No, he told him to spit in his hand.
He goes, spit in your hand. And Lemmon's like, are you insane? No. And he goes, that's the old way, the old Irish way. Spit in your damn hand. And so, like, afraid of the old guy, he spits in his hand, and they do the old Irish handshake of spitting each other's hand, and that is a deal. No paper was signed. Jack Lemmon learned immediately after doing this. He says, you got the role, and I'm John Ford. And it just blew his mind how he got that role. Just walking up and thinking this grip was insane. Talking to him. Yeah, that's it. The Long Gray Line. Yeah, that movie, Alpha. Yeah, Tyrone Power got the role. With beautiful Maureen O'Hara. Yeah. And that was the role that Jack Lemmon auditioned for, though, the Tyrone Power part. And Ford absolutely said he makes a terrible old man, but he's going to make a great Ensign Pulver. And he did. And don't get me wrong, I liked the sequel to the movie. It is not an official sequel, but it is a sequel. And it takes place after the death of Mr. Roberts, the second film. And it stars Robert Montgomery, or not Robert Montgomery, I'm sorry, Charlie X from Star Trek, Robert Walker Jr. as Ensign Pulver, and it's got Burl Ives as the captain. And what's great, the great thing about that sequel was that the gag with the marbles never pays off in this film, that he was going to stick those marbles above his stove and drive him crazy with the sound of the movement of the ship and those marbles moving around over his head all the time. And it never paid off in the movie. So it pays off in the sequel because he has appendicitis and they have to operate. And Pulver is there and he takes the marbles and puts them in his gut. And they sew them into him. So he'll be moving around and he'll hear and feel those marbles like inside of it. It's fucking funny. It's the best part of the sequel. But the sequel is not a great film. It's not. It's just not. This is. And the movie is based off of the personal experiences of the author, Tom Hagen. And Hagen, just like Mr. Roberts, died young. He died at the age of 29.
Damn.
And
Drowned in his bathtub while drunk.
While drunk and on barbiturates.
Yeah.
And they listed it as an escicide. And of course, the family said he would never do that, that he was self-medicating because of his experiences in the war.
And that's pretty much the opposite of offing yourself. You want to feel better. That's why you do that.
Yeah. So, again, it's still listed as the official cause of death, but the family and friends all said no, that this was an accident. He would never do that. And he passed away before. What was going on with him? He got serious writer's block. All he had ever written was this book, Mr. Roberts. And he couldn't seem to get another book going. And he couldn't write more than a sentence. And then he would just sit there and stare. and he couldn't seem to get it out of him. And I think the problem was too much of what happened to him is in the book, in Mr. Roberts. And he was relying too much on trying to make stories up. And he couldn't do that.
Well, also the pressure is insanely high when your first book is already such a big success.
It was a huge bestseller. It really got criticized pretty badly, but still huge big seller. And then it got turned into a stage play, which became a hit on Broadway with Henry Fonda. And then the rights were bought by the studio, and the movie came out 6 years after his death. And it's sad that he never even got to see the film.
Yeah.
And there's the credits for the author and the guy who wrote the screenplay, the main guy. Well, the big step up for him was the movie Bell, Book, and Candles, which is also, oddly, the inspiration for both Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. And it's a fun movie. Kim Novak, Jimmy Stewart, and I forget the actress that played the aunt that worked in the shop. Another famous comedic actress. And then, of course, Jack Lemmon as the brother who is a warlock. And it's a funny damn movie. And I love that movie. What is this? Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite things to say. It's from the military. If I like something, I'm like, it's outstanding.
I didn't know that comes from the military.
Well, we love you too, Wade. You're a good friend. I really like the look of this film because they did follow the stage play for the most part. You do get a lot of live action shots in this movie, but a lot of the scenes on the deck and inside the ship, of course, are on movie sets, set up to look like the stage play. Hi, Connie. And we have some videos, don't we?
Yeah. First one. And I think that's it. We have no videos.
By the way, Betsy Palmer is the female nurse that's in charge of the other nurses. That he has Lemmon's character, Ensign Pulver, has a thing for. And Betsy would go on to be more well known for some of her older roles later on in the 60s and 70s. But she was a pretty little girl back when they made this movie. And of course, that's one of my favorite actors right there. I mean, first of all, you got a lot of the classic character. Oh, by the way, Betsy Palmer also played the part of Mrs. Voorhees in the Friday the 13th movie. But Henry Fonda, of course, is in this. James Cagney. But William Powell is the guy playing Doc in this. And William Powell is, of course, best known for having played Nick Charles in the Thin Man films. And ironically, there was only one Thin Man story, but people misunderstood and thought that he was the Thin Man. So the movies were always called The Thin Man Does Something. Goes West, The Thin Man. But the Thin Man was actually the description of the dead body in the first story. And he was a thin man. But because of the movie title and them never pointing that out in the movie, he stayed playing the part of Nick and Nora Charles, and they continued calling it The Thin Man, all the movies with him. And they're great. There's not one bad Thin Man movie. They're all fantastic movies. Then, of course, you got Jack Lemmon playing Ensign Pulver. You have Ward Bond in this movie. Ward Bond, of course, is John Wayne's best friend. And you've also got Nick Adams, who would sadly die of an overdose in the late 60s, drug overdose. You got Perry Lopez in this movie. Ken Curtis from Gunsmoke and all that shit. Also in The Searchers. He has one of the best characters in film as the country boy that wants a fist fight Captain Pike. You got Harry Carey Jr., another member of the Ford Wayne group. You have Patrick Wayne, who plays Bookser in this. Patrick, of course, would go on to serve in the U.S. Coast Guard during the Vietnam War. And he was reserved, but he did do active duty. You've got Tig Andrews in this thing. You've got a lot of the guys that worked with Ford. And you've got, as I said, Betsy Palmer. And of course, the most famous role she played was Mrs. Voorhees in the original Friday the 13th. Myrna Loy, yeah, she was a looker. So right now on the stage, as you're looking here, the first shot of him walking out onto the deck was on the actual ship. And then they cut to a separate angle as Ward Bond walks up to him. And we are now on a stage, soundstage. Yes, Martin Milner's in this from Adam 12. One of my favorite actors. One of my favorite movies he was in. He's the love interest for the daughter in the movie The 13 Ghosts, and by William Castle. And he ends up being also the villain in the story. So this movie goes back and forth with stage to live on the set of this, on the deck of the ship. And I want to point out, it is not obvious. Like every single time they do a cut back to the set, the background's not lit the same. And so you can clearly tell they're on a set. But I don't care because I love this fucking movie.
Well, a lot of it takes place in the cabin that they share, Robertson to Pulver.
Okay, so 4 actors in common. Let me go back to this. Hungarian star Tyrone Power and Maureen O'Hara. And yeah, the last one you named. Yep. Ward Bond, Harry Carey Jr., Patrick Wayne, Jack Lemmon later. And I always felt bad that Patrick Wayne didn't get to become the movie star he wanted to be. I always felt bad for him. He even played Sinbad in one of the Sinbad films. It's The Seventh Voyage. And I liked that movie, and I thought he did a fine job. He just, I don't know. I always felt bad for him. Jack Lemmon later became famous. Yeah. But again, Slasher Fred, the movie that brought him to the popular zeitgeist first was this movie, but he still wasn't a star yet. But boy, oh boy, when he did Bell, Book, and Candle, he got a lot of attention for that movie. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss any great comments here. Elsa Lanchester, she was hottie when she was a young man. That bear is heresy. Uh-oh. What did you say this time? That caused that. Let's see.
She doesn't like this Nordy?
And back to Myrna Loy. Absolutely, she was a looker. Martin Milner, Adam 12. There we go. So we're all caught up. Excellent. So Nick Adams is good in this. And Nick Adams was like one of those actors, like what I loved with my dad and my grandpa is to find out some of the actors that I really loved were actors that both my dad and my grandfather also liked. And my grandpa and my dad loved Nick Adams. He was just such a cool guy. He had his own TV show. You know, it was one of those Western shows that he carried a sawed-off shotgun in. And it was called The Rebel, I think. I know I watched it as a kid. I've never seen it as an adult. I haven't seen Brand with Chuck Connors since I was a kid. And that was one of my favorite shows as a boy. And of course, I grew up on Adam 12, and I fucking love Martin Milner. So Slasher Fred, Connie Cleary, and F. Snowden Gabbett. Okay.
This is so funny when they spy on the nurses showering. Because this is what you get when you have a bunch of guys just sitting around. They're a supply ship. They never see any action. They're just hanging out for over a year.
They have never unbarked the ship in a year and a half
Yeah.
because the fucking captain, for some reason, he doesn't want his crew to have fun.
Well, he's a jackass. He's one of those hard asses that
Yeah.
thinks that if you give an inch with these guys, you know, and he doesn't know that he's causing more friction by not letting them off the boat.
And he's really so unlikable.
Oh, and perfectly played by Cagney.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, here you guys go. This is the Jack Lemmon telling the story of meeting John Ford and getting the cast in the role of Vincent Pulver. So here you go. This is on the classic Dick Cavett show. Dick Cavett was the daytime Johnny Carson. I don't think he was as good as Johnny Carson or as funny. But the fact is, he was a very good interviewer. He just kind of, britches got a little bigger than they should have with how smart he was, because a lot of people don't know this, that he had like this high IQ and he liked to show off how smart he was. And it kind of, if you watch like interviews with the Beatles, when he had them on individually, when he had Ali on there, you'll catch certain moments where, you know, his hubris is showing. And that's it. I'm going to put this in the private chat too, so you guys can share it again later. Martin, there you go. So Adam 12 and Emergency were probably the most influential shows of mine. Well, just to tell you, that's why I became a paramedic, is because of Emergency. I idolized those guys on those shows. I really did. I idolized them. And I loved Adam 12, and this close, my fingers are touching, close to becoming a cop because of Adam 12. And I ended up not getting selected, even though I had the highest test score. And the reason why is I was one of the last ones to sign up, and affirmative action kicked me to the curb. And so the reason I didn't get that job was the color of my skin. And that's the only reason why. Let's see. I also passed their psych eval. Adam 12 and Emergency were probably the most influential shows. Absolutely. Same here for me. Same for me, Alpha. Jack Lemmon tells a story. Yeah. Go check that out, guys. John Wayne, Ward Bond, Ken Curtis, Maureen O'Hara were in another Ford movie, Wings of Eagles. And Ken Curtis and Ward Bond were in another John Ford movie called The Searchers, which I consider to be John Ford's greatest film. And I love all of his movies. Was he inspired by Adam 12 too? Big fan? Your brother? One of the few times actors ever saw John Wayne cry was when his best friend Ward Bond died in 1959. It's either 59 or 60. And it was sudden because he was the star of a TV show.
What happened?
probably a mixture of things, as I recall. I can look it up real quick if you want me to. I love Ward Bond. Great fucking actor.
Well, if it was so sudden and surprising, it wasn't old age. So,
Well, he was up there in age, but the fact is he looked older than he was. He did
lifestyle.
He did drinking.
Mm.
Because that was, fuck, man, he's Irish. It's like you get these fucking Irish actors.
Say no more.
and they just drank together. And so let me get to his. Oh, by the way, in the movie The Alamo, a character wears Ward Bond's hat as a salute to Bond. And a fucking shame.
A head bitch.
Kind of, yeah. On November 5th, 1960, Bond suffered a massive heart attack while at the hotel in Dallas with his wife. He was pronounced dead at the Dallas hospital at age 57. His close friend John Wayne delivered the eulogy at his funeral. Bond's will bequeathed to Wayne the shotgun in which Wayne had once accidentally shot Bond with on a hunting trip.
What?
Yeah. On the same day Bond died, country singer Johnny Horton was fatally injured in an automobile accident in Milano, Texas. This led to a rumor that Horton was on his way to Dallas to meet Bond, who was to offer Horton a role in Wagon Train, a rumor that was completely and utterly untrue. Bond's actual reason for visiting Dallas was to attend a football game for the Cotton Bowl. And it doesn't say anything past that, just the massive heart attack. But I'm going to tell you, the guy smoked and he drank. And he drank like John Wayne and John Ford drank. Like he drank like, as they would refer to, as a man. I love these pillows of Ensign Pulver's. And by the way, all scenes with Ensign Pulver and Doc and Mr. Roberts are shot in Pulver's and Roberts' quarters because they're bunkmates on the ship. And I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it confused me though that Doc is always hanging out with them. Like, are there 3 people in the cabin and you only show 2 beds? What's going on there?
Yeah, well, they almost got that right. You would actually also call out large bore IV, which is a 12 gauge. And it's huge fucking needle that when you see it, you go, you're going to stick that in me? And you're good. Uh-huh. Large bore IV for lactated ringers? Absolutely. And yes, Adam 12 was likely a big factor in my brother's career. So he's not just so you know, guys that grew up around that period, man, we were inspired by those shows. Showing cops in a heroic way was wonderful because the Los Angeles police had a bad reputation coming up into the 60s. And Adam 12 made it a point to take real stories of the Los Angeles police and show the kind of men that were the cops there in LA. And it tried to be as realistic as possible. It just wasn't gritty. They also, 2 things that Jack Webb did with his 2 shows. Jack Webb on Adam 12 showed the first time on television SWAT in action. And SWAT was kind of like a reserve unit in the Los Angeles Police Department. They are made up of other officers, and both characters, Martin Milner and what's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his fucking name that played his partner. Both of them were in SWAT because both of them were former military and had special weapons training. So that's what it was. And originally SWAT was spelled with 2 T's. It was Special Weapons and Assault Tactical Teams. And then they just dropped the extra T. See, Adam 12 caused me not to want to be a cop. Every time they tried to get a code 7 to eat. Yeah, I know, right? Yep. We'd sit on our bicycles in the driveway waiting for a call from dispatch. Ken McCord, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, man. I love that show. And then it's the same thing with Emergency. Jack Webb co-created that show to show the very first paramedics, because people don't know that paramedics isn't something that existed for very long. That show was while it was in its infancy, and they tested it first in Los Angeles County. And that's where the first paramedic program went. And even in the show, they show the paramedic program being moved and tested up in Washington in the show. And they travel up to Washington to train EMTs. And the whole idea behind the paramedic program was that we were getting too many people dying between scene to the hospital. And in order to help stabilize patients better, paramedics were created, and paramedics' job was to be on the line with a doctor in the ER when necessary to do certain procedures, because they could do certain procedures under the command of a doctor. And they were feeding information, telling them what we've got, and the doctor's telling them this is what you need to do in order to save them. And the doctors were the biggest doubters that this was going to work, but it worked in Los Angeles, and it spread across the country. And I proudly became one. Wait, what's this?
Hard to believe that doctors.
Oh, the Burr. Okay, that's you. Because I sort of think Raymond Burr. Like, no, the Burr. You're saying Bear. We'd sit on by. I love that. My first homemade costume was as a paramedic from the show Emergency. And
How
I
old
think
were you?
I would have been 9 or 10. And I just love that show. And then in 77, I went as Han Solo. And again, made my own costume. And then the next year, and for quite a while after that, I went as Stan Laurel from Laurel, Stanley and Ollie, Laurel and Hardy. And because when I grin, I look like Stan Laurel.
You know what they're called in German?
Yes, you told me, but I don't remember.
Fat and stupid. Yeah.
I bet they like that. I bet they like that one.
I don't know if you knew it.
Oh, they would know. They had control over their characters. What is up with you, Beagle Dad? How you doing? Good to see you, John.
Look who's here.
Yeah, Beagle Dad is who I was just talking to.
Joe's.
I'm sorry, John. Joe, I can't hear you. What?
Yeah, that'll teach you, Joe.
What, Joe? I'm sorry, buddy. I can't hear you.
You know, Martin said you sound like a sick old grandma.
Yes. By the end of last night's show, he was so feeble. But he was adamant that he was going to do his show, and I was thinking, no, buddy, you won't. But congratulations, Joe, for your team winning the Super Bowl.
I'm assuming it was the Saints. I could give two shits right now with the NFL still.
That was the Seahawks.
Oh, Seattle. Okay. In Hebrew, it's fat and skinny. Anima.
Huh. Yeah,
I love this movie and Operation Petticoat. That's a good movie too, Jack Lemmon. I watch them as double feature frequently. Another film that I like to watch that also was written off personal exploits was a little movie called The Cane Mutiny. And I've seen stage productions. I also watched the latest version with Kiefer Sutherland. And by the way, that is one of the best adaptations. The one with Kiefer Sutherland that came out, a year and a half ago. And my boss is in it, Dale Dye. And I love that. And let's see. And again, the book was to that famous play. It was a play first, and was written by the guy who lived pretty much what happens there. And of course, it's Herman Wouk, however you want to pronounce it. When I was a kid, it was Wouk. It was Herman Wouk. And I watched all of the adaptations of his books, every single one. That guy was a prolific fucking writer of war, and specifically naval warfare. Okay, where did you lose the gun? Sander is here. What's up, Sander? How you doing, buddy?
Did he really read from cue cards because he couldn't remember his lines in this?
Who?
Cagney.
Not to my knowledge. I'll check. I'll look.
Sander brought it up.
Well, he's asking if this is the one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think later on, when he did the movie Ragtime, he did have assistance with the cue cards and writing dialogue on small cards, index cards, to either tape the people. And this is done by a lot of actors. When like fucking the rant by Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation, man. Now that song's in my head. God damn it. I love that song from Christmas Vacation. Cagney in his last film, I think, had to have some assistance with that. So here, I'll read you something really. The movie was directed, of course, by John Ford and also Mervyn LeRoy, as well as Joshua Logan, who is uncredited. While directing the film, Ford had personality conflicts with Fonda and Cagney. When Ford met Cagney at the airport, the director warned that they would tangle asses, which caught Cagney by surprise. Cagney later said, quote, "I would have kicked his brains out. He was so goddamn mean to everybody. He was truly a nasty old man," end quote. The next day, Cagney was slightly late on set, and Ford became incensed. Cagney cut short the imminent tirade, saying, quote, "When I started this picture, you said that we would tangle asses before this was over. I'm ready now. Are you?" End quote. And Ford backed down and walked away because, like I said, Cagney would have kicked his ass in a fight. Cagney was a real brawler. I think one of my favorite stories from Cagney, because yes, he did an autobiography, and he was tattling on other actors in Hollywood. And one of the actors he called a shitheel and a coward was Humphrey Bogart, and they liked each other.
Huh.
But Cagney called him a coward. Like he said, "I got into a big fight at this one bar, and I turned and looked, and Bogart was hiding under a table." That was one incident. And then my favorite story of him, he says he was driving down the main strip there, Sunset Strip, and he came to a stop at a light and turned to his left, and there was Bogart in the car next to him, picking his nose.
Ew.
I know, these are things you don't want to know about the guys you loved in movies.
Yeah.
Humphrey Bogart. Cagney was just fucking funny. He had a mean sense of humor. And it wasn't like he would try to start a fight with you or anything like that. It was just simply, he was brutally honest with his humor. And I'd like to find that book again. I love reading autobiographies and biographies, but biographies are my favorite. And my favorite autobiography of all time is Loitering with Intent by Peter O'Toole. It is just an amazing little book. And his personal hatred of Adolf. You know who?
The painter.
Yes, the painter. I did that the other day. I showed one of those, a few weeks back, I showed a painting of his. And I posted it as a meme. I said, "What do you think of this painting? If you like this painting, you just like something made by Adolf." Because it is a really good painting. The problem with it is his three-point perspective is off. And it's something I noticed like immediately because I know how to do three-point perspective. And I get annoyed when artists don't know how to do it because it's very simple.
Yeah, but you shouldn't deny entrance to study because of that, because you know what happened next.
Yeah. Well
Listen.
done, Austria.
He just wasn't good enough, okay?
Right.
Fuck you guys.
I mean, you knew what he got good at.
We take pride in our art.
So now
school.
there's a fourth pronunciation now that I've heard, woke. I heard it said so many different ways, 3 different ways when I was a kid, and that's now a fourth version saying it is woke. I loved Herman Wouk's books, man. And I loved the miniseries and movies made from this work. God damn, that guy was great. And Mitchum starred in 3 adaptations of his books about one family in the Navy during World War II. I fucking love Robert Mitchum. Yep, I'm over here on his Wikipedia page, and it says to pronounce it WOHK, which would be woke. Fucking nuts. Yeah, I love that guy's writing. And I'm going to tell you, he was a prolific writer. The only other person I think that was as prolific a writer that wrote history stuff is James Clavell. And James Clavell was actually a member of the Americans that was held prisoner by the Japanese and tortured and abused by the Japanese. And what he did to get over his trauma was to write history books about Japan. And he was able to let it go. Let's see. His nasty ass attitude fit the role perfectly. Yeah, not Himmler. Nobody.
The mustache.
By the way, Meph, I watched a documentary last night on the Mossad's hunting of the Red Wolf assassin. And I'm like, God damn, that's a good story. How we've had 3 different versions of the Jackal and nothing about this guy. And I think part of the reason why is Germany, because it would make Germany look bad. With Billy Wilder's 1, 2, 3, you do get a sense Cagney is reading from cue cards. You kind of see him looking at them in his knees. I'm going to have to watch that again and see if I spot that, Sander. I do know you notice it in the movie Ragtime, which, like I said, was his last movie. But I know that Brando made it famous because he wanted the dialogue to feel natural and stumble over it more realistically by learning the lines as he's saying them. And eventually he got to using an earpiece in scenes, which I'm not sure if you could see it or not, but there's a scene in one of his last films with De Niro and Ed Norton was in it too, where he is in a bathtub and he has an earpiece in. Billy Wilder, yeah. I'm going to look into it, Sandra, because I'm curious about that.
Wouldn't an earpiece
I'll
be
tell you
way
who
too
didn't.
obvious?
No. He was good in speeches. The rest he left to the psychopaths he kept company with. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's historically very accurate statement.
Yeah.
He was charismatic, which, my dad and I talked about this, the difference between being charming and being charismatic. And being charming is not necessarily a good thing. And charisma technically is a word usually associated with spirit, being spiritual. And that's kind of the way Adolf was, and like when you see those speeches, we see it with our eyes, modern eyes, looking back on it, and we're like, why can't you tell he's insane? Some people are great orators, and he was one of them. Personally, I think he sounds insane, but that's because, we're watching on an old film. Yeah, that whole, being in the future, looking back, that eyesight's always going to be 20/20. There she is. That is the future Mrs. Voorhees. Killed all those teenagers. What's this? Yeah.
He's asking him how is it going. I didn't see Christian. Oh yeah, he's here.
Christian is here? Wait, where?
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
I messaged you twice last night, Christian, to send me an invite. Because I couldn't find an invite to join you last night. I waited for a while, but you never read my comment in the chat or my phone message to you in the group. I love J. Giles Band. My favorite song of all time from them is No Anchovies, Please. I fucking love that song. It's so fucking funny. And only people who are true diehard fans of J. Giles knows what the fuck I'm talking about. If you're talking about Adolf, no, he was rather hands-on micromanager. Well, in the office, but when it came down to it, everything I've ever read shows that he put certain people in charge of things. But he was very much inspired by an old buddy of his over in Russia on how to transport enemies of the state by train. That was gleaned from Stalin by Adolf.
He was a copycat.
But the original orders to go after the Jewish populace was added on by, was that Himmler? I think it was Himmler. Who was in charge of that? I can't remember. Which there's still an argument that he may not have known up front that they're going to start doing executions. But I don't think he would have had a problem with it if he did learn, because his hatred was true. Welcome back, Gambit. This movie is worth remembering and mentioning. Oh my God. And these guys are going stir crazy. Like, there's a certain period of time.
He's been sitting on this ship in 14 months.
When you're a young buck, blue balls is not something you want to have for any length of time. And this is torture by the captain of these young men.
He doesn't even know his own crew.
There he is. That's Patrick Wayne right there. Pat Wayne.
Pulver is terrified of the captain, so he keeps out of his way. So the captain doesn't even know him, and he's one of the officers. It's ridiculous.
You guys see Patrick Wayne?
Yeah.
I love this because that's Ward Bond doing this scene with him, and Ward Bond was considered his uncle. He always considered Ward Bond Uncle Ward. Oh, awesome one says that I am still breached with pain.
Well, you're a pain in the ass. But I don't know.
So here you go, buddy. Just for you.
This is unsustainable.
He just needs to learn everyone's scent. Folks, your back door is like a name tag for a dog, so line up and bend over.
No.
That's one of our videos.
William Powell was dashing back in the day. During the conference about the final solution, they say they were given orders by Goering. That's it. Oh my God. By the way, Nuremberg, holy shit, that movie. That movie should sweep the Oscars, but watch it won't. Yeah, and by the way, again, Gambit, yes, I've already watched it. I watched it before you. The problem is we can't get subtitles until it gets released because the current subtitles are in Polish, I think. I'm not sure. It's a foreign language. It might be, it's Eastern European, whatever the subtitles are. Well, you watched this movie last year? I watch it every year. A year doesn't go by I don't watch this fucking movie. I love this movie. And here's Cagney trying to explain why he does what he does, and Roberts doesn't give a shit. All he cares about is that the only way you can have a good crew is to have a happy and satisfied and comfortable crew. The grandfather of one of my best friends from law school punched Goering. Holy shit. I want to hear this story.
Should have done more than just punch him.
By the way, I think the movie is called The Bunker. Let me go look that up. No, that was the one with Anthony Hopkins. What was the movie about the bunker that came out in the 2000s?
Valkyrie.
No. It was an in-German film. Downfall. Came out in 2004. It's also the one that gets misquoted all the time on purpose to make it funny when he's yelling, like when it's like he's going on
about meme. It's a video meme template.
Yeah, it's a video meme about Microsoft is my favorite one. But yes, Bruno Ganz plays Himmler in that. And God damn, that is a really fucking tough movie, but really good to watch. And yeah, thank you, Alpha. Thank you. He got it too. I would not mind doing that on a Military Monday, but I'm afraid of doing it because of YouTube. Lord Battlestar Galactica. What the fuck are you talking about, Sandra? Game of Thrones. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Put down the beer.
The captain should have had compassion considering his job, but he's based on, I think, two real people, specifically based on the real captain that the author served under during the war. Ensign Pulver is partly based on one person, but also parts of it's based on another guy that he served with. And may even, because I remember reading in one place that some of what Ensign Pulver says and does may have actually been something that the author actually said himself, Tom Hagen, when he first started out as an ensign. Awesome, you already got one video. You don't get a second. Her grandfather was an ace pilot in the Flying Circus. Goering took over after the Red Baron's death. He was a good pilot, but a terrible commander. And I'm going to tell you, Russell Crowe is really good as Goering. It's kind of scary how good he is.
He's good at everything, though.
No, they use when it goes off on German and they translate it totally different. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Where they change what he's saying to, like, one of the first ones I ever saw was hilarious, where he's on a rant about Microsoft and Windows. And it's funny as shit. So the good thing I can say too about this flick is that because of that incident at the beginning, Ford acquiesced to Fonda a lot on the dialogue after he punched him. Yeah, I love it when the SP here fucking comes back on the ship to get the goat, a ram.
Go. They go rogue because they haven't been on shore leave for so long. They go absolutely crazy. Are you still with us, Gary? Because you're frozen.
Yeah, right.
No, I was reading a quote.
Okay. Because your shit keeps locking up, so you never know.
Yeah, I love that. Is one of those things, wreak havoc. And you have a lot of these words that are technically dead words, but are still used in combination with another word or phrase or in a phrase that people don't use anymore, nor if they were asked would know actually what the word means. Now, wreak havoc, wreaking has still has a meaning in language, which means a powerful stench. And there's the goat, and he has to come back for it. I love it. Yeah, it's spelled with a W. Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Don't die.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah. To
Do
wreak
better.
havoc with the W is to do damage, and to wreak havoc is to smell so bad you cause havoc. People are screaming, going, "It's burning my eyes!" Jack Lemmon showed his range in the China Syndrome. Yeah, he got an Oscar for it too.
Yeah, but
deserves
Henry Fonda is in there.
Well, I still will watch that movie because I like Michael Douglas and I love Jack Lemmon. Oh, that's interesting. There you go, Anima.
Yeah.
And the irony of this is the man who created the word also smelled badly.
How do you know that?
I'm lying. Making shit up. That's what I do. That's a tough movie to watch with Sissy Spacek. I like that movie. It was talking about the shit going on in Argentina back when Pinochet was still in charge.
Yeah, Pinochet was in Chile.
Oh, Chile. Was it Chile?
Yeah. Pinochet
Okay.
was Chile, Argentina
You're
was
correct.
Peru.
You're correct. But anyway, that's what the movie's talking about, the missing. And also out of that comes the Gueca dance, which is what wives, widows, and mothers of the missing would do as a silent form of protest, is to dance by themselves with no music, alone out in the street. The Gueca dance. or Quecca dance. I can't remember which one's the proper pronunciation. I smell bad just like those. Yeah, okay. I have never had cognac, by the way, awesome one. I've been told about it. Is it good? Hold on, Sander. So yeah, the Chilean coup. I remember seeing it in the theater. Yeah, Jack Lemmon, Sissy Spacek. My dad and I went to see it. I'd watch Mr. Roberts every time it aired on television. Yeah, back when I used to watch TV. Now I've like for years now, I don't watch TV. I do watch TV shows, but I watch them commercial free.
Yeah.
And I tend to binge them. And certain ones. There's Patrick Wayne again. He looks like a kid.
He looks very
And this
young,
was this is 6 years before he joined the US Coast Guard.
How old was he in this?
God damn, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, some of the shit that happened, and I know some of it's still happening down there. I know it. But the shit they got away with back in the late 60s going into the 80s, man. The video of the ice pro.
We
Yeah, I
should
know.
not talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. The scene in the stadium is pretty powerful. Yeah. It's a good fucking movie. I don't know. Martin, would you be comfortable like us doing that movie?
Which one?
Missing,
Nuremberg?
which Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, I don't see why. I
Have
haven't
you
seen
seen
it.
it?
No.
So you've never seen
Wayne
it.
was
You should watch.
16 when he did this movie. Holy shit. He
Well,
was
I-
a kid.
I am really difficult to shock, so I don't
Well, it's just I didn't know if it would bother you watching that because of the shit you went through.
know. What the fuck?
Yeah, why you left. Because even though I'm not saying you got tortured or anything, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what you saw for yourself with the communists and leaving Venezuela.
Well,
I didn't know if it would bother you to watch something like that. But it's a good film. It's a solid film. It really is. And Lemmon gives a great performance in it. As good as the performance he gave in The Days of Wine and Roses. He should have gotten a nomination and a win for that with Shirley MacLaine. Or was it Shirley MacLaine? No. Who was that?
don't know. I am not well versed on Shirley MacLaine's.
Lee Remick.
filmography.
Lee Remick. About two people who become alcoholics and destroy their marriage and family. And it's just a fucking tough film. It was the first hard drama. Still has some comedy in it, but it's real world comedy. Like it's funny because it's incidental and how they react to things. But Days of Wine and Roses was directed by someone known more for comedy, Blake Edwards. And it's a fucking amazing movie. Lemmon should have got it for that. Lemmon should have got it and did get it for China Syndrome. Lemmon should have got it for the comedy The Odd Couple. Mathau as well. Both of them should have been nominated. Which would have that would have been hilarious at the Oscars, them giving each other dirty looks because they were nominated for the same thing.
Okay, Alpha says this.
Don't get me wrong, Alpha. I absolutely believe you because Amnesty International is a propagandist organization. And they spread misinformation They'll send in bad information with partial good information, and then say it's all true. And that's Amnesty International. I used to believe in them back in the 80s. I was a supporter financially. I paid money to Amnesty International. I believed in that shit. Thanks, Sting.
What does he have to do with it?
It's because of him I learned who Amnesty International is. He's a big supporter still. Just had my dinner. Thank God we got past the anus surgery scene.
God.
My uncle's last job was reading scripts for Jack Lemmon's production company. Fuck off, D, but are you serious? That's fucking awesome. And what makes me sad with that is his son is actually a very funny guy, very good actor. Also, just like his dad, amazing on piano. And his acting career died pretty much right after Hulk Hogan got him to do a movie with him.
Not that it's related.
I'm not saying it's not related. I just think that's an interesting coincidence. Coincidence. But I love, what is his son's name? Christopher. I think it's Christopher. Christopher Lemmon. And what a funny guy. He looks a lot like his dad in the eyes in particular. He's very expressive like his dad. And he was on a TV show back in the late 80s. And hilarious sitcom, relationship sitcom. And just didn't go anywhere. And then he did some bit parts in movies. And one of the last ones I remember seeing was with Hulk Hogan. And that was sort of like the nail in the coffin of his career, it seemed.
Have you seen Robert Shaw's son?
Yes, he plays him on a stage play.
He is the spitting image of his father.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Martin, if you would be so kind as to pop it up on the screen for everybody.
There you go.
That's him right here on the right. He looks just like his fucking dad
Yes.
here. He looks just like his dad here. That's Chris Lemmon. This is him with his dad. And, you know, Jack said he never pushed him, that he allowed Chris to find his own way in what he wanted to do. And he just really took to playing piano. So the two of them both are pianists. And he was both of them were terrible students with everything else, but they excelled in the arts. And Jack talked about it in that interview. When you guys watch it, you'll hear him talk about how, he could have gone in any direction, but he was passionate from day one of wanting to be an actor. But I don't think it was the same with his son. And my God, he looks like his dad right there. It's ridiculous how much they look alike. And he's a funny fucking dude. Oh, I remember this when he had the perm. That was some crazy hair. I permed my hair once when I played the part of Mercutio in a production of Romeo and Juliet, the one where I got stabbed for real, and by accident. But
I will never not chuckle every time you talk about that.
It's so fucked up though, because I tell people, I said it wasn't sharp. The tip, it was like slightly flat on the end because it's a screw on the end in order to screw the safety tip on. The safety tip came off. And so he popped and bent the epee, and then it went boom into me, and I went, oh.
So in your case, the promise was kept. It was just a tip.
It was just the tip. Also, I finally learned what a woman feels like when they're penetrated.
I don't think it feels like
James-
cutting objects.
We're moving on from that joke. James Cagney had 4 movies that year. 1955, Mr. Roberts, The 7 Little Foys, Love Me or Leave Me, and Run for Cover. None of them hits like Mr. Roberts. This was a smash hit. And it's sad, that the guy that wrote this wasn't there to see that this movie would be a hit. Fucking died, man. Oh, it's so fucking sad. By the way, the soundtrack music for this was written by Franz Waxman. And he did some really good fucking movies. Bride of Frankenstein, the Alfred Hitchcock film, Rebecca. He did the movie Sunset Boulevard, one of the greatest noir films ever made. He did the film A Place in the Sun, Stalag 17, Hitchcock's Rear Window. He did the romantic film Peyton Place, The Nun's Story. He's just a great fucking music composer. And a big fan of his, an outspoken fan of his, was Bernard Herrmann. Loved Waxman's music. And nobody remembers him.
Hmm?
I also had an accident with snips. They broke and I slammed down on my lip. Wow. What are we talking about with snips? What the fuck are we talking about here? What's it a reference to? What's a snip?
Scissors?
I once got my ass beat for giving myself a Mo Howard haircut and then cutting a chunk of hair off the top of my head when I was in Sunday school. I'm like, they trusted me with those safety scissors. And this is what I do. Also, I really love this scene because basically what he made is what was used in the day for blasting caps. And this shit was discovered like right around 1800. And it is what they should have used in the movie Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's, because he says dynamite, and dynamite did not exist when that story was happening, based on the dates within the film. It was like 4 years before dynamite was created. They used to use this stuff, which is
Nitroglycerin.
It's soaked. The mercury is soaked in nitric acid. And I forget the name of it. He says it several times in the movie. Desert Memorial
Yeah, you went
Park.
to look it up when we watched it yesterday. Because I didn't know.
Well, because I'm like sitting there going, I know that whatever that is, it's dangerous because you don't fuck around with mercury.
No.
And so you soak it. The problem with it is it's fairly unstable, like nitro. And what they ended up using it in, well, that's one of the names for it. Yeah. Oh my God, why am I having a brain fart with this?
The same reason I'm having a brain fart with this.
You're old, both of you.
Yes.
I'm so old. I'm so old. Somebody wipe me. I shouted. And by the way, a lot of people don't know what an ensign is because ensign sounds like very low rank. And it's not. It's the first officer rank in the Navy. It's the equivalent of a lieutenant in the other branches.
In Star Trek, they have both. An ensign is below lieutenant.
Yeah.
You get a butter bar.
Yeah, but they are below lieutenant. They are officers, but they feel more like an NCO. Hey, Penny's here.
Hi, Penny.
That's it. Mercury fulminate. But he says it fulminated mercury is what he calls it. And it is highly explosive. And yeah, that scene is funny when it goes off and blows through the hull and through the pipes. And so they think they blame it on the pipes causing it. I love that commercial. Awesome one. I fucking love it. And I love William Shatner for having done it. To finally address that his name is Shat, the Shat. And I fucking love all the gags in that. Ooh, I see somebody is here. Yes, I better get it. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm going to get it. Do you get it?
What are you talking about?
The fuck?
Oh, no.
He's having a stroke?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so nice. Oh, this is so good. There we go. This one is for you, Penny.
Penny.
Sheldon.
Penny.
Sheldon.
Penny.
Sheldon.
Penny.
There you go. Made that just for you, Penny.
Yeah, I told him to do it, but he wouldn't listen to me. When you asked him to, he did it.
Well, now you understand.
Fuck you.
It's a pecking order, baby. And in this world, you're either a pecky or you're a pecker.
God, I knew.
Whatever.
That's actually like goes back a ways. And I think the first time I heard that was from a sergeant saying that. And it had to do with a joke that I made where I said, military life, when you're like a grunt, is a lot like prison, just with a lot less graping.
Ay.
Yeah.
And I remember a mutual friend of ours that used to watch our show, but doesn't watch it anymore. I don't see it. I haven't seen him in a year. And he had been in jail and prison. And he says, no, it's not. It's not like it at all. And I put back, I said, oh, did you serve in the military? No. Then how do you fucking know? His final, William Powell, yeah. God love him. No, I'm such a fan of William Powell's. Nobody could have played Nick Charles the way he did. Those movies were a hit because of him and her. Yeah, by the way, there was a TV movie of Mr. Roberts with Kevin Bacon as Pulver.
Yeah. And a
I
TV
remember
show in 65.
And I'm like, nope, don't remake anything unless you know you can do it better.
Are you listening?
And by the way, the guy that plays Rodriguez in this, Perry Lopez, one of the sailors, he was better known later as the lead investigator and former partner of Jake Gittes in Chinatown with Jack Nicholson. And did you know he was also on Star Trek?
Yes.
Yeah. Here, hold on. Got a picture of him. Very good actor, by the way. Here you go. You can show it, Martin.
Here.
And by the way, that's the reactive fern they're standing in front of.
Oh.
That guy on the right, he was the lead detective, cop, former partner of Jake Gittes in the movie Chinatown. And he's also one of the sailors in this movie. But that's that fern that when the sun comes out, the leaves rotate upward. And then if you touch them or run your hand along them, they collapse. It's fucking cool. What is this? It's you know what's going on with you today, Gambit? You're really kind of falling behind on throwing some of that trivia up there. I'm just so used to you doing it. And by the way, even though it's not a comedy, I do consider The Caine Mutiny with Humphrey Bogart a sister film to this. Yeah, and by the way, he had a reputation of being a drinker, and he wasn't. Really, he wasn't a teetotaler or anything, but absolutely was not a heavy drinker. But he had a lot of health problems because he played roles of characters who were heavy drinkers.
Huh.
But Powell did live all the way up into the 80s. He survived. And I want you to think about this. He was in his fucking 90s when he died. He was born in he was born in 1892 and died in 84, the year I turned 20. But he and Myrna Loy, and again, thanks for mentioning her name earlier because I couldn't think of her name. Myrna Loy was just so great together in the Nick and Nora Charles movies. And God damn it, I wanted one of those dogs like Asta. But later I'm like, oh, I don't want one of those dogs. They're fucking like wired for sound. They're like insane. High energy. Got to give them love constantly.
That sounds exhausting.
I can't even do that with people, like much less like an animal. No matter how much I love them, I'm notoriously affectionate for moments, and then I'm just not a very touchy-feely person. That's why I like cats so much, because cats are like, oh, this okay, I'm done. Fuck off. Get away from me or I'll bite you.
Wait till you meet Amelia. She's a lab cat.
And by the way, I hate saying this, there's a good article over on Collider. I know, Good and Collider are not connected in any way, but this is actually a pretty good article. I'm going to share it with you guys.
Even a broken clock is
fight
right twice a day.
Henry Fonda and John Ford. Here you go, guys. My space bar is having trouble. It broke, and I tried to repair it, but I don't have a tool to lift it slightly to push the little metal bar that goes across. And so it's just sort of sitting loose, and sometimes my space bar works, and sometimes it says, fuck you. Here you go, guys. Very good article if you want to read it on the incident. And the thing that, he's longing to be an actual warrior, a water warrior. He wants to be in the thick of it. And the cruel irony is his character dies doing what they're doing right now. He's not in the thick of the fight. He's sitting below deck having coffee with the other officers. his
Yeah.
new friends.
Kamikaze attack out of
They
nowhere.
got hit by a kamikaze. What's this? I love the chemistry between K. Francis and Powell in One Way Passage and the jewel robbery. I have seen jewel robbery. I've not seen One Way Passage, or I've forgotten it. Water Warriors, someone with diabetes, go fuck yourself. Awesome one.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Yeah, that's undeniable that Fonda had to do sock. No, he was socked by the director. I'm not sure. I don't think he took a shot back at him. Because Ford was a lot older. Did Penny like her little video?
Well, she
I
told
don't
you
know.
the other day to get a clip from.
I
Big
guess
Bang
that's her
Theory.
reaction. That's her reaction.
Yeah. There you go.
Because I went through every episode of Lost in Space and including the movie with Gary Oldman, and I couldn't find a great line from him. And but I'm going to go back to the movie because I do believe he says "Penny, my precious" in that movie. I swear to God, he does.
Well, and the Gary Oldman
Yeah,
says
like-
Penny Precious, and she says,
yeah.
she says, does he has to call me precious? And in the show, he says it too, because even in this the version that I saw that was dubbed in Spanish, he used to say Penny Precious all the time.
In the Spanish,
Penny
yeah,
Precious.
see,
That's what
it's not in the show. I went through every episode. So yeah. By the way, the medical term for that is called frequent micturition. For what Oswald is talking about with the peeing. And when
You're
I
gonna
was
just
when
drink
my
all the time until you're diagnosed.
well, the thing is though, I still drink a lot of water during the day, but I don't pee as much because I've got my blood sugar down to normal and or in the normal range. So I don't pee like I used to. But yeah, when I was there, he is right there. See him there with the dark hair and the pompadour. It's so cool to see these young actors, you know, in this movie. And there's another one. I got to find it here. Hold on. I'm going to go to IMDb and look for this real quick.
I can't believe Wayne played a soldier at 16.
Well, he'd been in movies. Even when he was a kid, his sister was too. She played one of the girls in The Searchers.
Yeah. What are you looking
God,
for?
look, I'm looking at all these fucking Irish names in this movie for some of the extras. Harry Tinbrook, Jimmy Murphy, Kathleen O'Malley, Maura Murphy, Mimi Doyle, Jean Murray. There it is. Gregory Walcott played the shore patrolman in this, the one that comes back and gets the goat.
Mm.
And Gregory Walcott, man, he always played rough characters because he's just a big fucking dude. He played one of the fighters that Clint Eastwood has to fight in Every Which Way But Lose. He played the part of Jeff Trent in the 1958 piece of shit movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. He's the pilot husband. He played a used car salesman in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, which I absolutely want to try to watch this year. Iger sanctioned, because when I did the movie poster for Bruce Campbell's Running Time, the executive from Synapse Films is a big fan of that movie, and he says, "Man, can you emulate the poster with the gun pointed at the camera from Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. And I went, yeah, I fucking love that movie. Fuck yeah, I can do that. This is it. This is the heartbreaking moment. Because it's such a happy moment reading this letter from him. And then he gets a report letter stating that Mr. Roberts was killed during a kamikaze attack, that he was sitting there with his friends having coffee when the plane crashed into the ship, killing everyone in the room. Just fuck, man.
But to keep up morale, they only put up the first letter that he wrote, all enthusiastic about finally being somewhere where the action takes place. They don't put up the note that he died for the crew to read. And I like that.
They must have only hired Irish. Yeah, absolutely. No, John Ford was big on the Irish as an Irishman, proud Irishman, and a guy who like owned property in Ireland. That's why he made his dream movie, The Quiet Man. He wanted to make that one. Another film that he did was a wonderful film. It's called How Green Is My Valley. He shot that film, edited it, and left the editing bay and went straight into the military to serve in the war. Oh, absolutely. One of the greatest filmmakers of all time. And I put, like, because they were all friends. Billy Wilder is one of them. William Wyler, another one, and John Ford. What's his name? Schlesinger was really good. God, you had some great directors. But I consider Ford to be the cream on top of the whole milk or buttermilk. You get that sweet skin on top of buttermilk. And that's, to me, that's John Ford. John Ford was really, in my opinion, the single best director out there. And that's over even Hitchcock, who I love too. But William Wyler, I consider probably the second greatest Hollywood filmmaker. Yeah, there you go. That's a word that describes it. Creme de la creme. The cream of the crop, the top. Also, that is so wonderful when Ensign Pulver, finding out Roberts is dead, suddenly gets his fucking balls.
Yeah, and he becomes Mr. Robert.
Yeah.
Yep, he becomes Mr. Roberts. But
throws that fucking palm tree overboard and then confronts the captain.
I just threw your tree overboard. He tells it to his face.
And like, what's that bullshit about movie night being canceled?
Great fucking movie. Oh my God. Yeah, let's get into this, Gambit. How Green Was My Valley is the last film he did. I mean, literally the last thing he did. He left the editing bay and went straight to the U.S. Navy to sign on to shoot combat film, be a combat correspondent for the Navy. Fort Apache, great film. My Darling Clementine, another great film. Stagecoach, the movie that gave us John Wayne. Aerosmith, The Quiet Man, Grapes of Wrath. Absolutely. These are all top great fucking movies. And Grapes of Wrath is probably, in my opinion, the best film they did together. Him and Fonda. Let's say, yeah, that's what I just read. Okay. Wrong one. Aerosmith. On John Ford. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. But he really is. I consider John Ford the best American director from that era. And though we've gotten some more, I still don't, as great as some of them are, I don't consider them as good as him. Spielberg wants to be as good as John Ford. He's not. In fact, I got to be honest. I think there's one is Australian. I consider to be in the same class as him, and that's Peter Weir. And he's not always top of his game, but I really do like the direction work of shit. I just forgot his name. Did Manhunter? They're just these directors, as good as they are, they're not as prolific. Ford was putting these movies out relatively quickly. You know, he would put a movie out. He'd have a couple of movies out a year.
Michael Mann, is that the name?
Yeah, Michael Mann. Michael Mann, I like him as a director. But again, how many movies has he done? You know, these directors just don't have the amount of films that Ford did to hone his craft, because he worked from the silent era on. Like, he had been around for a long motherfucking time.
Yes.
And I rate Aerosmith the most highly because of the director and how he managed to coax Ronald Coleman and Helen Hayes to improve their performances. Spielberg is a great cinematographer. It's the same thing with Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's not a prolific director. He's a great cinematographer or director of photography. And again, Spielberg has done a fair job on some movies. I mean, they're really fucking good. But I never really, I'm probably going to be crucified for this. I never really thought his film about the German that was a manufacturer of armor and ammo, played by Liam Neeson. Schindler's List. I really don't think it's that great a film. The subject is great, not the film. You need to see it. I think it's an important story.
Yeah.
But I just don't consider that a great film by him.
Well, the only thing that sticks in your mind really is that it's all black and white except for that little girl's red coat.
That is referred to as a gimmick. It's like the movie The Artist. I've never said anything ill of this movie. Never have. This is the first time I'm giving it the slightest bit of a review. Jean Dujardin, the French actor that's in it. Fucking love that guy. I fucking love that guy. But that film, again, is pretty mediocre. Story-wise. It's not that interesting. What makes it amazing is the gimmick of the film. The gimmick of the movie is what makes everybody love that movie so much. And gimmick doesn't make a good movie to me. A movie needs to have a stirring story.
Well, it's a true story, though.
And what? The Artist? I don't recall it being a true story.
Oh, no. Schindler's List.
Oh.
That is a true story. That's why it's so important, that movie, to remember what he did.
Well, it is. And they didn't show everything in that film. But the fact is, like, some have criticized and says, well, he wasn't all that great. He was being
aggrandizing.
Yes, self-aggrandizing and also doing things for selfish reasons. But the fact is, those that knew him said, no, we knew him. And he was not like that. What he was doing was because he was against Adolf and the whole Third Reich. And he really did tell his foreman that if we put something out that works, we have failed. Because he wanted to bring the Third Reich down. And he thought the only people that could do this were the people manufacturing for the Third Reich. And he was one of the few that sabotaged everything. Okay, awesome. You get this one. We've got a rule of not talking about that movie because somebody in chat just won't shut the fuck up about it. And I love that movie, Das Boot. But I don't want to keep fucking saying it. And yes, of course, Ford directed war movies and documentaries, so he didn't forget. In fact, he's the one who made the first film about Midway while there. Signature and versatile-wise, he did everything.
Yeah, that one on Querelle.
Oh my God, why did you have to bring it up?
Because what it does to you.
Dick. That's why we're friends. But like one director like that I look at, and it's funny because before he died, he actually played John Ford in Spielberg's movie, the Wondermans or whatever they call that family. Is David Lynch. I really love his filmmaking. But I don't think he was still not quite to the level of John Ford. But one of my favorite David Lynch films is it called The Long Ride? What was that movie? Again, a true story. And it was produced through Disney. David Lynch made a movie through Disney. And where was it? It was back in the 90s, I do believe. Hold on. Am I looking in the right group? No, not writer. I want director. Thank you, dipshit. Why? He still has 2 films showing it as in production. Anyway, it's about this old man that has to ride a lawnmower to go see his brother.
Okay.
Who's dying because he can't drive.
Oh. I see. They was going to ask, what? There's not another vehicle available to him? But no, it's a workaround.
I'm trying to find. I'm not seeing it. Because it is the single least David Lynch movie ever made. I thought he directed it. Oh, he did another movie I really liked. My Son, What Have You Done? It's a true story again. All right, I'm going to look at the movie. Anybody want to talk is welcome.
Okay, I was a little distracted. I don't know if you address this comment from Gambit. Ford had been kicked out of Fox Film Corporation for being overly drunk.
Ouch. That sucks.
Damn.
He did direct it. Why? I couldn't find this on his fucking IMDb page. So anyway, it also starred Richard Farnsworth, who was actually dying when he made the movie. And it was his last role. Walt Disney produced it and distributed it. It stars Richard Farnsworth and Sissy Spacek, and written by John Roche and Mary Sweeney, and directed by David Lynch. And I fucking love this movie. Let me bring it up for you guys. This is a film that forced me to really think about David Lynch as a director, that this guy could have been as prolific a director as John Ford, but I don't think he did enough films. And I don't blame him for that. It's not his fault because he did what he got paid to do. And a lot of people didn't want to fucking hire him for some reason. So there you go. The Straight Story stars Richard Farnsworth in his last role. And it's about an old man that's 73-year-old learns that his estranged brother Lyle is critically ill, unable to drive. Alvin embarks on a journey from Iowa to Mount Zion by riding a lawnmower. And it's a true story because he couldn't drive a car legally. And I think it's because he was like had vision problems and he was just fucking old. And what a great movie this is. And if you've never seen this movie, fucking find a copy and watch it. Farnsworth gave a performance of a fucking lifetime. And was nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, but he didn't win. The Bodil Awards, Lynch won Best American Film. The Independent Film Awards, the British Independent Films Awards, won for Best Foreign Independent Film. And nobody cares about that. So, a movie well worth seeing, guys. Just telling you.
We'll add it to the list.
Oh, Gambit apologizing for repeating something.
That's new.
He
knows what he's
He
doing.
immediately
Look at
laughs. He goes, I don't mean the apology.
No.
This is a moment where he's sort of like Andrew Dice, like, hey, sorry, not sorry. Hey, yo. Well, Richard Farnsworth, I remember watching him from The Gray Fox, another great film. And you know, that movie opens with a clip from The Great Train Robbery, the first movie to pan a camera. Moved it from right to left, as I recall. First time done, because they didn't think it would work. They said that if you do it, it'll blur and you won't be able to see anything. And they were proven wrong. Yeah, I remember being aware of Straight Story in '99. It's just a great fucking movie, dude. And David Lynch really could have been today's John Ford.
Okay, seeing that
he'd
title,
gotten
The
the
Straight
movie.
Story, I'm thinking in your title for your biography said an almost gay story.
Yeah. Or kind of gay.
No,
Almost.
I think you. I think you were a gay that came up wrong when your recipe was being made in heaven just to send the soul to the baby, because you have the wittiness and the humor of a gay man.
No, yeah.
And
I can be pretty catty too.
yes, but when they were putting all the ingredients and was only the only ingredient left was the sexual inclination. Somebody shipped the baby.
Yep.
Yeah, they fucked that up.
Yeah, so some angel got fired for that.
I like
Yeah,
it
now
at the
I have to
veg.
pay for that.
I like it at veg. It's a wonderful. Yeah, it's basically I'm a gay man trapped in an Italian guy's body. Because every Italian I've ever known has been like a fucking like womanizer. Exactly. The Great Train Robbery, 1903, is a visual lexicon. Gambit, you will find I actually know a lot of crap. It just sits
Without
up here.
Wikipedia.
You know, Keith and I, the first time we did this show together was not on camera. It was at a convention where we were asked to go up and talk about the state of film and television, why entertainment's so fucked up. And we went into it and we talked for 4 hours. The people that were supposed to come up and take the podium said, no, we're good. They sat in the audience and watched us talk about film.
Well, you're your own
television.
encyclopedia about movies.
Well, he is too. Keith and
Yeah,
I are walking
I meant
human
both of them.
encyclopedias And we pay attention. Like I tell people all the time, I do know something about business, but what I know more than anything is how people operate. And I can read a room like crazy. And I was seeing what was going on in Hollywood. And I'm like, I know where this is going, and this isn't good. And this is back in 2018. And Keith and I said at that conference, what has now happened in film and television has already passed over the last 4 years. We sat there for 4 hours and explained where it's going, what's going to happen. And we said, and the worst part of this is they're going to do damage to cinema. The streaming services are going to practically destroy cinema. I said, and it's going to come to a point that the worst thing that's going to happen or could happen is when these streaming services have beat the studios and buy the studios, and then cinema is dead for the most part. And what's going on? Fucking Amazon, a streaming service, buys MGM, and Netflix is leading to buying Warner Brothers. And right now, the only potential for something good is really from fucking Paramount and Universal. They're the only ones where there's any hope of saving cinema. Wait a minute. And feature-length motion picture to the masses, that's correct too. And even when it's shorter than 2 hours, it's still great and amazing. Yeah. We all bet you know a lot of shit when it comes to picking up things. Maybe. Maybe not. So that's it. And I don't want to get too much in that stuff because that's going out and getting into the weeds, and I leave that up to Keith. I don't want to do it anymore. I'll jump on and talk with him, but it's usually to crack jokes because I just get so bored talking about how bad things are. It's boring, and it's not going to help anything talking about it. I see a lot of guys that just talk about this stuff and want to talk about the information. And I'm like, you're not making changes. The only way to make changes is to actively resist it. And we have some people that do that. Gary from Nerdrotic has enough viewership to do damage to these people.
That's why I'm so glad that he's torturing himself by watching Academy and doing reviews.
Yeah,
because
well, it's not just him.
To know how bad it is.
I want to say these names. I want to say Dave Cullen. And I don't know him very well, but I know some of the other people really well because I know Andre and Tom. I know, I just forgot his name, the limey prick. I love him because we talk every once in a while. We even talked about doing a comic book together. I was going to bring in, because I would color it and letter it, and then Richard Bonk would draw it because I don't want to draw other people's work anymore if I can avoid it.
Glenn Fleming?
No. Limey prick, dark hair, funny dude. He went after the Alien TV show and all that shit. I fucking love that guy. But I love Dave Cullen and I love The Critical Drinker.
Christopher Moonlight?
Well, Chris is our fucking friend. And he's on
and
the
he's
show
not a limey.
when he has free time. And yeah, he's not a limey prick. I know you guys fucking watch this guy, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on him right now.
I have no idea who you mean.
Me neither.
Because he's a filmmaker and has made his own stuff.
Critical Drinker?
I already said Critical Drinker.
Oh.
And he's not a limey, he's Scottish. I dare you to call him a limey.
You only do that once in your life.
Is that Spielberg is praising one battle after another.
Well,
it's not a good film.
Dude, I cannot take seriously anything that comes out the mouth of Spielberg after West Side Story, the remake.
Yeah, he is a fucking piece of shit for making that fucking movie. Like, he could do a better job of making that movie than the one made by the guy that shot Star Trek the motion picture, The Sand Pebbles. He did.
Yeah.
He also directed West Side Story and The Sound of Music. I cannot think of his name right now.
And
Also
his
did Dave
comment-
Year Stood Still.
He's virtual signaling with no, I
Mr.
don't
H.
want-
Mr. H.
Yeah. No, I don't see him.
I do. I like him a lot. I like him a lot. I like his thinking. He thinks like a writer, and that's why. Dave Cullen does too. Dave Cullen knows a lot about writing, which is why I watch Dave Cullen and I watch Mr. H. Guys who actually focus on storytelling are the best people to criticize filmmaking today and television. That's correct. That's why you don't call him a limey. As Eric Little said in Chariots of Fire, I am and will forever be, whilst I breathe, as Scott. The immortal words of Walter White, you goddamn right. But I don't know if we're immortal. I'm pretty sure we'll die. But Keith and I will probably put this channel in someone's hands to take over when I'm too old to do it.
In your case, maybe if you take out the T.
What do you mean?
Out of culture?
No, immortal.
Oh, moral. Some people would refer to me as a pretty moral guy, but I've had some people I've known that referred to me as semi-amoral.
Oh no.
And I'm like,
No,
what do you base that on? And they said, well, you know, my propensity for violence. And I said, well,
one thing doesn't have to do with
I'm not
another.
violent. I'm not violent. I'm very pacifistic. I really am for the most part. I said, but I'm only that way when I don't see someone being aggressive in the wrong way. And I absolutely am comfortable with violence, you know, but the thing is I prefer to never use it. You know, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel after I've hurt another human being. But I do know that sometimes it's fucking necessary. The fucking remake of West Side Story is an abomination. Watch the 61 film. And who directed that, man? I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. White? What?
The 61?
Yeah.
Robert Weiss and Jerome Robbins.
Robert Weiss. I said why. Weiss. Robert Weiss. And Weiss made Dave the Ear Stood Still, West Side Story, The Sand Pebbles, Sound of Music, and he did Star Trek the fucking motion picture. I fucking love that guy. Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah. Well, look who he is, really. He did one movie I liked. One movie. Heart 8. That is a great fucking movie about gambling. And it's how destructive it can be. And it's a damn fine film. Great cast. France hasn't had a great prolific director since Truffaut.
What? What about Luc Besson?
Yeah.
No. The last prolific French director was Francois Truffaut. He was also a very good actor, but he was a better director than anything. I love his movies. I remember that one movie I saw when I was in England where this guy gets angry at this other, he jumps out of his car. He says, "Get out of the way, you motherfucker." And the other guy says, "Please don't say that. My mother is in the car." And he says, "Well, if you'll stop fucking her, I won't call you that." And I'm like, who the fuck wrote that?
I just want to point out the thing of an American guy in England watching a French movie.
Well, that's what I was a kid too, by the way. I wasn't a full-fledged adult yet. And I'm sitting there. I remember watching this movie, and there's titties in it and bad language. And I kept turning to look at my dad, like, am I going to get in trouble for watching this? And I'm like, I'll just pretend like I don't know what's happening here. Dad didn't know that they allowed that on regular television.
Oh yeah,
Fucking titties and
Europeans are
bad language.
pretty free about that.
Yeah, we know exactly what that movie's about, and it's just shameful that they made that. It's un-American and anti-American. I mean, the thing that drives me insane, and this is the closest thing to a political thing I'll say today, which is my issue with the left. And it's not with liberals, it's with the left. The left, it's a dodge, okay? They're con artists. That's all they are. And their hatred for these things drives me insane, because the Democrat Party is equally responsible for the laws that pertain to the border. It's through Congress that these laws are made and put into action and then voted on by the three branches of government. And it's they who could stop these laws or amend them in some way. But they don't do that. What they want to do is they want to have something to complain about. But what they keep forgetting is that finger they're pointing needs to be back at themselves, because they're the ones who created and can manage these laws. And then they yell at people that work with the Department of Immigration, giving them shit. And I loved when Holman was before Congress and got questioned. He says, all we're doing is enforcing the laws that you created. And he points right at them. You could change these laws. And until you do, we have to enforce them. And I don't understand what your problem is. Because it sounds like your problem is with yourself. It's surely not with me, because all I'm doing is my job enforcing the laws that you created. And that shuts somebody down every single time that happens. And it needs to be happen every time they bitch about this stuff. Yeah, I was told it's a remake of another film. I don't remember what movie it is. I just don't even care.
No, he's talking about West Side Story.
Oh, West Side Story is garbage. Like, just the woke way he made it. And again, I'm a woke person, so is Keith, but we're the right level of woke. These people are just insane, just throwing around. I have shut my sister down so many times because she's a leftist. She's not a liberal. She's a leftist. She claims to be a liberal. You're not liberal. I'm more liberal than you. And the problem with so many modern liberals is they refer to patriotism as nationalism, and it's not. It's two different things. And they want to call people who are patriots nationalists. And they do this on purpose to be dismissive of their opinions. Your opinion doesn't matter. And so this is what shuts down conversations when you do this. And the only people doing this are people on the left. People on the right, conservatives, don't do that. Extreme conservatives might do it. I don't know. I've gotten anybody that was extreme right wings not in my life. I don't feel comfortable around them. They make me feel they make me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, the problem is the thing is, extreme right wing is as authoritarian as
it is.
As 75% of the left.
I'm not going to say who said this, but it's a famous friend of mine. And he said these words, and this is a quote: they need to take every one of these son of a bitches out and put a fucking 2-cent bullet in their head. End quote.
Allegedly, in a video game.
I'm not going to say who it was. And even though we are friends, I'm cautiously friends with this guy because he makes me uncomfortable. And I consider that ultra right wing.
Yeah.
And it's not that, because I've said before, you know, I'm of the old school. The only good commie is a dead one, as the old, you know, quote goes. And I've even thought about getting a Chase shirt and that has that on that. And I love that the CIA killed that guy.
But let it happen by natural causes, preferably by living in a socialist regime that will ensure that that will happen.
Yeah, nationalism is, to me, nationalism is scary. Okay, patriotism is different in the fact that it is your love for your country and for the people in it, and that you are willing to put your life on the line to protect them. And every grunt I served with was like that. All the guys that weren't like that, they ended up going to different MOSs. I had this one pussy, man, that was in my platoon. I wanted to punch him right in the fucking face because the war was escalating, and we were being told that we could be sent right out of basic. And it's like, I don't believe that, but we went up and freaked the drill sergeant out when Holland, Julio, and I went in to speak to our first sergeant and told him that we would volunteer to go straight from basic. And he went, "Oh, we just say that to freak people out. No, we can't do that. You have to have AIT. You have to before you can go." And I said, "Well, if it was needed, we go. We're volunteering right now." No, you're not needed. You're excused. You know? And he liked us, our first sergeant. And the first sergeant is the one that trashed me that one day. He's the only one to ever smoke me because I volunteered like an idiot. What's it, Alpha? Hold on. Even the most self-righteous religious conservatives I've known were more open to honest debate than most on the left. It's true. It's sadly true. And we need to push these people with closed minds out of the conversation. Get them the fuck out of there. Move aside and stop having these fucking corner criers, because that's what they really are. They're out there to spread propaganda and yell it, and they don't want to talk with anybody. And in order to get this government working again properly, we have to have across the aisle communication. Even though you might not fully like a final decision, that it's not exactly what you wanted, but that you got close to it, sometimes is better than not having it at all. So, yeah, I completely agree with you, Alpha. It's all a matter of question and begging. It's how you define patriotism and nationalism. I have always seen them because when we were educated on patriotism, you know, the thing that comes close to nationalism, the only thing I ever saw as a kid that ever came close to nationalism was the school system teaching us patriotism as a kid. And, you know, having us do the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of school. You know, that could be perceived as nationalism because that's a government organization. Public schools are government organization. What the government and schools don't have a right to do is to force you to do anything like that, or force you to not be able to speak your mind. And that's where schools have a problem, because they want to interfere with the belief system of a student. And you can't do that. Well, this is a government school, so you can't have that belief. It's like, students don't belong to the school. Our opinions are our own when we're students.
Dude, do you remember some years ago, not 2 or 3 max, Democrats were saying that kids were property of the state? They tried that shit in Venezuela too.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah. Soap parties, those are blanket parties. And what you do is you put a bar of soap in a sock. And when you want to give somebody a blanket party because they're a problem, a group of them grab the blanket and put it over their head and hold it down on both sides of the bunk so he can't move. And then the other guys that have the socks with the soap each take shots at him. You're not supposed to hit him in the head. You hit him in the body, all right here in the main body, and to help hide the bruises. And that's a blanket party. We knew about him, and I remember that I and the other squad leaders told our squads, if I find out you did something like this, I will take you out and beat the fuck out of you. You'll know who's beating you, and you will get your ass beat. And so we never had any blanket parties. There were threats of them, never happened. Because we had a couple of fuck chops. And I ended up in the position of protecting them and threatening other people. If I find out you did anything to this guy, I'm going to fuck you up. And so we never had any awesome one. None. Let's see, because I truly love all things Japanese. Some of my drills were fond of wall-to-wall counseling. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I took a guy out on a fire escape to correct his behavior. I knocked him unconscious and put him in a laundry bag, one of the big ones with rope, and tied it to the rail on the fire escape and hung it over. We're three stories up. And it took the, what's that? I forget the name. The people on guard at night. Oh my God. I can't fucking remember the word. I can't remember the word. Quarters. Oh man, what the fuck? I'm having a brain fart, guys. I apologize. But anyway, the guy kept hearing something. They go out, they're like shining a light around, and nobody looks up, you know. And finally, sometime around 3 a.m., one of the guys looked up and saw this blanket move, this laundry bag moving and somebody inside of it, and he got him out. And I went to bed. I was sound asleep. And then we get woken up, and I'm like, okay, well, here it goes. You know, I'm probably going to get an Article 15 for this. And he didn't narc on me. He said somebody else from another company did it to him. Which I've like, how? But okay. But I do not know what wall-to-wall. CQ is what I'm trying to think of. CQ. And they had like 4 guys on CQ. And they also had somebody manning the phones for the row of barracks. And CQ went out, and they're the ones who found him hung out on the thing. And they come into the barracks with this guy, and then the drill sergeant's like, go to bed, go to sleep. Nothing to see here. And the guy's name was Truesdale. I don't know his first name. Most of the people you know in the military, you know by their last name, because that's all it's on there is their fucking last name.
Well, that and the nickname.
Yeah, I called him Marble Mouth. Yeah.
Marble Mouth.
Yeah. First time I met him, I was just made squad leader of first squad. And which was just, I'm so fucking proud that I got that. I'm like, really? Like, you want me to be squad leader? He goes, yeah, you got your shit together. And he says, I talked to your previous drill sergeant. He said, you are one squared away, motherfucker. And he says, so you are squad 1, first squad. And which led to some funny stuff, because I'm also an asshole with it. I like to prank people and say fucked up shit to them. And even to the senior NCOs, you know, the drill instructors, French directors. Both of the French directors are good in my eyes. Who was it you named? What was the second one? Or is this it? Jean Reno. I know Jean Reno. Yeah, he's very good. Every single one of those guys are good. The best director in that list is Francois Truffaut. He is the single best French director of my generation. CQ is Charge of Quarters. That's right. Yeah, and they're usually grunts that are put in charge, guys that are in training, and they just didn't know how to look up Alpha, because I don't know if you ever went to Fort Leonard Wood. They were barracks, but they're called billets because they have a foundation that is narrow, and then the barracks hang out over it floor by floor. So there are 3 levels of barracks that go out in a T shape, like a plus sign. And underneath them, out to the ends are, main supports are these metal pillars that hold them up. And underneath them are concrete training areas. It's called CTA. And what they were designed for is during inclement weather, they can still train you physically on stuff underneath the training CTA area. And I fucking love those barracks. They tore them down 2 years ago. Those things have been up for decades, and they finally tore them down, and it made me sad because I have so many memories of those barracks there at San Antonio. Wall-to-wall counseling is counseling usually in the DI's office, squad bay. Well, I remember one time the DI introduces you to one wall and then another. Here is what happened with us. We had this one dude, he ended up getting recycled and eventually kicked out. And I felt sorry for him because he was trying to get squared away. Because he was a fuck chop at the beginning, a loudmouth. I called it, his nickname I gave him was New York. I went, sure thing, New York. And he got kicked out, man. And it made me sad. And what made me even sadder and kind of angry was that they never intended to keep him. And they took him out there and did grass drills out in the parade area where the grass hadn't been mowed yet. This is tall grass that's a good 6 to 7 inches tall. And those blades are sharp, that Kentucky bluegrass, man, at Fort Leonard Wood. They smoked him out in that, making him low crawl in that fucking grass. His face and neck was so cut up, his arms, and then they kicked him. And I absolutely regard Ragtime as his finest performance and a testament to all his years as an actor. Absolutely agree with you on that, Gambit. I love that movie. And it introduced the world to Chucky.
Did you read this one from Alpha?
Well, yes, I did. Because I was going to comment on it. We had this one guy that was a fuck up, like I said, and he got called into the drill instructor's office there in the barracks. And he says, shut that fucking door. And I'm like, oh, this is going to get good. So Julio, Holland, and I stood in the hallway. Oh, Davis was there too. And so we stood out in the hallway. We were all the squad leaders. And we're listening. And I mean, you could hear furniture moving. And it wasn't because he was moving the furniture. He was moving the guy into the furniture, throwing him into the furniture at different angles. And there's banging and the loud sound of that, the bases of desks and chairs on the wooden floor. You know these sound effects. You hear him. Yeah, that was a song that every time Julio, I would see him and we were like on our own time. And I said, me and Julio down by the schoolyard. He was my best friend in basic and AIT. And I love that guy so much. And I still can't find him, and it makes me sad. Because when we leave, I had an address book with everybody's name in it. And guess what I lost in the divorce? It ended up in storage, and I never got it back. The hierarchy for after-hours duty usually goes field grade officer of the day, staff duty officer, staff duty NCO, and CQ. That's right. Love it too. And absolutely regard. Yep. I didn't read this one. Jack Lemmon started a long-time friendship with Cagney, which lasted in Cagney's death in '86. Cagney's last movie before retiring was, the one I was talking about, Ragtime. It's a great fucking movie. And if you've never seen it, fucking watch it. Because when we get around to doing Cagney's birthday, that movie will be included. But the thing I really liked about that film was one of the young actors, an unknown actor that was in it. And his name is Brad Dourif. Just amazing in it. Let me give you some other names in this movie. You had Donald O'Connor, Kenneth McMillan, who was the sheriff in Salem's Lot, and he played Baron Harkonnen in 1984.
Gary?
Yeah.
We don't have Cagney listed. His birthday's in July, and that's already filled.
Okay, I'll go through it, see if his birthday deserves more. But I'm going to continue doing this next year too, because I like what we're doing.
Okay. Because we cannot switch out any of the actors that we picked. We have Terrence Stamp, Harrison Ford, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Robin Williams.
Yeah, we're going to stick with
any
that.
Of those
so we'll do Cagney next year. So, but anyway, Moses Gunn is in this fucking movie, man. I love that guy. What a great actor. And sadly, a great actor, but fucked up in real life is Howard Rollins was in this movie too. And these people, Debbie Allen was in it, Mandy Patinkin, actor James Olsen, who is technically he's a B actor who kept getting cast a lot in the 70s, late 60s and early 70s in lead roles. Like he was one of the main character, or he is the main character in Andromeda Strain. But this was also an early film for Mary Steenburgen and Jeffrey DeMunn. And if you don't remember him, what's wrong with you? He was, of course, best known for being in the TV series The Walking Dead. He's the guy with the roving RV. And he's sort of the heart of the group. He was in The Green Mile, The Mist, The Hitcher, and The X-Files. Great fucking actor. You have like just some great fucking actors in this movie. Hell, there's one actor who's not even a fucking actor in this movie. The character of Stanford White in the movie is portrayed by none other than Norman Mailer, the author, the celebrated author. Boy, that guy could write.
Never heard of him.
I'm trying to think of something he's written that you might know. I can't think of anything. I mean, he may have written The Naked and the Dead.
Nope.
I know I remember one, The Executioner song, which I thought was, it annoyed me because the protagonist in the story is the fucking psychotic killer. And I disliked that. Played by Tommy Lee Jones in the made-for-TV movie. And that's one of his that he wrote. I forgot to think about it. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Fuck. Yeah. Wee Willie Winky. I don't know that one. The Hurricane Seas Beneath. The Plow and the Stars. How the West Was Won. Another great film. Let's see. The Informer. That's the movie that made Victor McLaglen. And Ford handpicked him to play that character. And you, honey, that's the guy that plays the older brother that's supposed to give the dowry in John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara's movie, The Quiet Man. And they get in that long fist fight. Yeah. It goes from one side of the village to the outskirts.
That like fight is ridiculous.
It's so much fun. People betting on it. Tobacco Road. I was in a production of that. The first stage play I ever did that got me my stage acting card was doing a production of Tobacco Road. And I do like Drums Along the Mohawk. Great movie. So, but that's it, guys. Gonna get out of here.
Yeah, we went
Been
over
around.
about half an hour.
That's okay. It's not gonna kill us. Oh wait, I'm dying. So we're gonna get the hell out of here. It was a really fun show.
Bullshit.
No, it really was. We're going to get the fuck out of here. Martin, anything you want to add before we get going?
Not really.
Okay. Anima, anything you want to say before we go?
No,
Okay. Well, I will
all
just
has been said.
say all the names: Gambit, Snorty, Meth, Slasher Fred, Connie Cleary, John the Beagle Dad, Joe's Atmosphere, Sandra Hammerschlag, Christian Delorme, D. Bud Martin, Awesome One, and of course, Penny. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. It was fun. We're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great day, and we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Matt Damon.